So hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and today we're going to take a look at an Equinox finisher build. Now first of all, this is a 2 Forma build even though it says 3 Forma, and that's simply because I started off with a completely different build and it was rather boring. So I changed it and I had to reformat one of the polarities. So what you want to do is add a D and a dash. Now the only aura that makes sense for this build is Energy Siphon, because the way this build works is you're going to be walking around in night form casting rest on enemies, which will put them to sleep, and then you simply walk up to them and one-shot them with a covert lethality dagger. So corrosive projection doesn't really do anything, and it's really nice to have Energy Siphon, which will continuously replenish your energy. Now, I'm still using redirection to give me a little bit more survivability, and that's because sometimes when you put a group of enemies to sleep, you will overlook 1 or 2 dudes in the background, and if it's like a heavy gunner or a bombard, they will kill you very, very quickly. So it's nice to have a little bit more survivability. Then I'm running full power range with overextended stretch and gunning drift, and this just helps you put enemies to sleep, because with this setup, rest and rage is going to cover an area of 12.5 meters, and this is enough to cover a smaller room or an entire corridor. Next, I'm using flow, and this is very much a personal preference. You can swap it out for basically anything you want. If you want more survivability, you can throw in vitality. If you want to run between enemies much faster, you can even throw in rush. But I just like using flow because it allows me to bank up far more energy. Then I'm using fleeting expertise, that's 2 ranks from the top and a max ranked streamline for a lot of power efficiency. And that's because even though rest and rage only costs 25 energy, if you're casting it all the time throughout an entire mission, it's a lot of energy, so you need that efficiency. And finally, for some duration on rest and rage, I'm using Constitution and Primed Continuity. This puts the enemies to sleep for about 30 seconds, and that's more than enough even if you have a large group of enemies. Now originally, I wasn't using flow on this build, I was using calm and frenzy, but it doesn't seem to work at all. And not in a sense where, yeah, it doesn't really do anything, so it's not worth a mod slot. It actually seems to be broken. Because what it's supposed to do is, when you kill an enemy that's affected by rest and rage, it should spread the remaining duration and the effect of rest and rage to all enemies within 5 meters. So if you kill an enemy that's asleep and still has 10 seconds left on rest, all enemies within 5 meters should be put to sleep for 10 seconds as well. This doesn't work. I've had butchers standing around me as I was killing an enemy that was asleep, and they did not get put to sleep. So either A, I'm a moron and I completely misinterpreted what this augment is supposed to do, or B, it doesn't bloody work. But then again, it's not that big of a deal. I actually prefer having flow in there, as I've said already, so I can bank up more energy. Overall, I like this build more than the Inaros finisher build, because with Inaros, you have to hit the enemies from the front. If you throw the sand at their back, they're just going to be like, oh, sand? Oh, hello, Inaros, bang, and shoot you in the face. With this one, you just put it in the middle of a room or in the middle of a corridor, and if the room is not too big, everyone's going to get put to sleep. And then you have plenty of time to run from enemy to enemy and one-shot them. Now, I know this build might seem a little bit limited, especially for Equinox, because if you count Metamorphosis, she has 8 different abilities. But that's just how I decided to run with this build. It works perfectly fine for a main build as well. The slash damage isn't gonna tick for an awful lot, but you have maxed out power range, so the aura is huge. The energy drain is almost unnoticeable because you have a lot of duration and efficiency, and the explosion damage you get from damaging enemies inside the aura is not affected by power strength, so you can switch to day form, accumulate a truck ton of damage, and then simply release it, killing everything in sight. So when you're running solo or you're running sorties, you can run in night form, put enemies to sleep and finish them off with a dagger. And if you're running in a squad, whether you're farming resources, you're farming XP or focus, you can switch to day form, put on maim and detonate it every now and then for huge amounts of damage. So overall, I am very happy with this build. I would definitely recommend you try it out. It is a ton of fun. And that's pretty much it for the video. So I thank you very much for watching as always, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.